And joining us now to help explain what the heck happened in New Jersey and in just about every state where elections were held on November 2nd is Steve Adubato, a MetroFocus contributor and award-winning anchor of the New Jersey PBS show, State of Affairs. Steve, welcome back.
Great to be with you, Raf.
So, Steve, I should start by saying that as of this taping, Jack Ciattarelli has not conceded to Governor Murphy yet, although, of course, every major media outlet has called the race for Murphy. Do you think that there's any chance that Murphy's victory could be reversed once, quote, all the legal ballots are counted, as Ciattarelli tends to put it?
No, I don't. 60,000 votes is 60,000 votes. It's still way tighter than a lot of Democrats thought it should be in a state with 1.1 million more Democrats than Republicans. It should not be a 2 or 2.5% margin for Governor Murphy. Listen, I'm hoping and praying that Jack Ciattarelli acknowledges this, because even though it's not his intent, I don't believe, the longer it goes that the loser of a race does not acknowledge the outcome of an election, given what happened in 2020 and on January 6th, we're playing with fire when that happens. And Jack Ciattarelli seems like a decent guy who does not want to see anything bad happen. Concede the race, acknowledge what happened. Let's move on.
Yeah. All right. So let's start with the governor's race, assuming, as everybody does, that Governor Murphy won it. Where did Ciattarelli do better than expected, and where did Phil Murphy do worse than expected?
Ciattarelli really captured the imagination of a lot of suburban voters. These are Republicans who got out to vote for him, independents who could go either way, and some more conservative Democrats. And here was the key, in my opinion, Raf. There was something that Governor Murphy said publicly that I think he wishes he had not said, which was this, and you know it, Raf. If taxes are your issue, New Jersey's probably not your state. Ciattarelli takes that one line. He didn't edit it. He didn't take it out of context. Murphy said it. I asked Murphy about it several times in the interviews I've done with him. He didn't take it back. He said he meant something more than that. But here's the problem in politics. You have a one-liner like that, you can ride it all the way to the election. And for New Jersey, which has the highest property taxes in the nation, a very high income tax, losing more and more people to Florida who are leaving the state because they're trying to go to a no tax or no income tax state one day more than a half of the year. You can't say, with the cost of living being what it is, that if taxes are your issue, New Jersey's probably not your state. Ciattarelli rode that all the way, and it hurt Governor Murphy terribly, especially in the suburbs.
And where did Governor Murphy do worse than expected?
More urban voters in Essex. Well, in Essex County, he won big. Here's the problem. He won by a great percentage, but he did not win by a plurality in Bergen County, in Passaic County, in Union County, in Middlesex County, and in Essex County. He should have won bigger, because in those, and in Camden County, those are Democratic strongholds. Disproportionately black and brown voters who disproportionately vote Democratic. For whatever reason or reasons, Raf, they were not urban voters were not overly excited about this campaign. And I know the Murphy people will say they did not take it for granted, but it's not what I think or you think or what the governor thinks. If voters felt that this was taken for granted, and by the way, with Hispanic voters, Murphy did not get out the vote he should have. If people felt like they were taken for granted, they're staying home.
Well, you know, when we spoke about this race a week before it happened, we both, I think, agreed that Ciattarelli's biggest vulnerability was Donald Trump, because he seemed to have embraced him, even though in 2016 he had condemned him. But it appears, I mean, he got a lot of those Republicans in the suburbs back. He got a lot of independents that you might not have expected from anti-Trump voters. And it seems like that didn't happen. People don't care about Trump if he's not on the ballot. It appears from this election and in Virginia as well. But I wonder if President Biden had an impact on this race. The troubles he's been having, particularly since the chaotic exit from Afghanistan. Did that impact New Jersey's race?
I believe it did, Raf. By the way, no one knows. I love when people say they know exactly what impacted an election. We think we know. We can take educated guesses. Yes. Remember that the infrastructure deal, which means so much to the New York, New Jersey region, particularly when you're talking about Gateway, which MetroFocus has done a great job in covering over the years, it's going to happen. Let me tell you, on the Tuesday of that election, November 2nd, there was no deal in Washington amongst the Democrats. You had President Biden, you had the Democrats in the House and the Senate. They couldn't agree on anything. So a lot of voters were like, wait a minute, the Democrats have control in Washington. They're not getting it done. The perception of Biden that he is not leading as strongly as he should be leading and getting things done hurt Governor Murphy. And I also say this, Ciattarelli was smart enough to not criticize Donald Trump, who was, frankly, a very negative figure in the state of New Jersey and New York, obviously. He stiff-armed him, Raf, kept him away, but didn't criticize him. So he kept the Trump lovers or those who voted for him in sync with him, but at the same time was far enough away from Trump to not scare people. Over time, that's going to be harder and harder because Donald Trump, in my view, is not going to say, that's okay, I don't have to come in, do whatever you want, and I'll take credit for it anyway, which is history in these races. In Virginia, the same thing happened. It's going to be harder in 2022, but that's what Ciattarelli did. He kept Trump at a distance.
All right, really quickly, some pundits said that if the congressional race had been on the ballot this year, a lot of Democratic Congress people would have lost. Others pundits are saying that if the congressional races had been on the ballot, Democrats would have done better across the board because it would have brought out more Democrats. Who's right?
I don't know, but I'll tell you this. My understanding, Raf, on the numbers is that if the Republicans take 5 seats in the House in 2022, they take control of the lower house. There are 3 seats of the congressional districts in New Jersey, 3 of those seats held by Democrats right now, that Phil Murphy did not win in, that Jack Ciattarelli won. And I'm not saying 2 + 2 = 4, but what I am saying is this. Those Democrats, Josh Gottheimer, Congressman Kim down in Ocean County, where Ciattarelli did really well, Mikey Sherrill, my member of Congress, if you will, in a tough district in Morris County, and others, Malinowski. I'm going to tell you something. If the Democrats lose 3 of those seats in New Jersey and they go Republican, the House is likely to go Republicans because they only need 5.
Of course, yeah.
You can't say what would have happened in this race, but something's going to, the Democrats are going to have to be perceived to move more to the center because right now they're perceived to be way too far out to the left for suburban voters.
We'll talk about it in a second, but I want to get to the Steve Sweeney race, who just recently conceded finally. For those who don't know New Jersey politics, I think it would help if I said this. Sweeney is a lot more Joe Manchin than he is Bernie Sanders. He's a moderate, powerful moderate senator in Trenton, whom the progressives have been trying to get out of office for years. The teachers union has spent millions over years to get him out. And suddenly we have this Republican conservative spending less than $3,000 beating him. 2 questions. What will his laws mean for Southern New Jersey Democrats, for their power in Trenton? And secondly, might it not be ironic that his defeat will greatly strengthen the Northern New Jersey progressives and the progressive governor, Phil Murphy?
Well, first of all, in that district, in Southern New Jersey, they went for Ciattarelli. It's almost like sometimes, Raf, I feel like there are 2 states in New Jersey. I know we're called a blue state, but we're a blue-collar state. Southern New Jersey is more Republican and more conservative than the northern part of the state. That's number 1. Even though Sweeney was in sync with a lot of that, Murphy did lose Sweeney's district by a lot. Some also have argued that Steve Sweeney was so focused on being the Senate president and hopefully running for governor in a few years that he may have lost connection to his district. I don't know if that's true or not, but Southern New Jersey Democrats have lost a lot of power. Northern New Jersey Democrats and Central, by the way, the new president of the Senate is likely to be State Senator Nick Scutari. He's from the central part of the state in Union County, if you will. So I have to tell you, Southern New Jersey lost a lot of power. And I don't know if it means that the progressives are going to be more powerful, Raf, because again, if the Democrats don't move more to the center, you're not going to win statewide and you're definitely not going to win nationally in 2022 and 2024.
Well, let me elaborate on what you talked about Southern New Jersey. A lot of districts that around the country that look like the districts in Southern New Jersey, white working class, a bit rural in certain parts, have gone full-fledged Republicans over the past few years. Any chance that Southern New Jersey will become red, completely red from now on?
The Trump thing is, Donald Trump is popular in Southern New Jersey. He just is. And I don't know how this plays out in terms of whether he is the Republican Party or people like Chris Christie who are criticizing him and more moderate Republicans push back. And I don't know where the Republican Party is. So when you ask me, is it going to go red? The question is, which color red? Is it Trump red, or is it more moderate, conservative Republicans who frankly abhor Donald Trump and how Donald Trump's presidency ended, particularly on January 6th? So I don't know the answer to that, Raf, because I don't know what the Republican Party is going to be moving forward.
No. So we have less than 30 seconds. Do you think that the Democrats in New Jersey can turn this around by midterm elections, or do you think that this red wave or red tsunami will continue? 25 seconds.
Real quick, anyone who thinks they know exactly what's going to happen a year from now is kidding themselves. I think the Democrats are going to push back on Governor Murphy and not, frankly, be as supportive as they've been in the past. They're going to put a price tag on things, and they're going to try to hold the line on taxes so that they can't be accused of being tax and spend left-wing progressives. And I do think the Democrats can hang in.
All right. That's it, Steve. That's all the time we have. Thanks so much, brother.
As always, my pleasure, my friend.